والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله محمدا عبده رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters in Islam, here locally in New York, across the nation and across the world. Jazakumullah khairan for joining us here on ITV. This is your place to go for Islamic programming. Alhamdulillah. My name is Afaf Nasher. I am the Executive Director for CARE New York, the Council on American Islamic Relations, New York chapter. We are a group of civil rights and advocacy organizations that you can find across the nation, alhamdulillah. And our duty, our amana that has been bestowed upon us, first by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then our community members who support us, is to defend Muslims and Islam. We want to make sure that everyone has the right to live Islam freely. And that is really what this program is about here on ITV. It's about different topics and different issues that we have seen, that we experience here, that inshallah by talking about them, by reminding ourselves about them, we can inshallah remain empowered and remain vigilant and remain confident that we do have the rights that we have and we're capable of asserting those rights so that we live Islam and as strong Muslims every single day, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, no matter where we are in the world. My brothers and sisters, I'm going to talk about a bit of a sensitive topic today, and I hope, inshallah, that I don't say anything that offends anyone. And if I do, remember, we are in the month of Ramadan, this beautiful, beautiful Ramadan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's generosity, this month of forgiveness. And I ask you to forgive anything that I say that may offend, but I believe it's a worthy topic that needs to be addressed. You see, as a civil rights organization, we often fight unfortunate cases of racism, meaning some sort of hatred or bigotry or an act that is criminal or illegal towards somebody of a different color. That's easy to understand when we're talking about people's bigotry of us in general as Muslims. But we also have issues in which people unfortunately target those because of their different color skin, not just their religious level. And we also see that even within the Muslim community. So that's really something that I want to talk about today with openness and honesty. You see, there have been instances, for example, in which I have spoken to young children, and we all know that young children sometimes are amongst the most truthful. And we've gone into schools to talk about bullying, including in Islamic schools. Islamic schools, my brothers and my sisters. And when we're talking about making sure that our kids know that they have every right to be Muslim, that they have every right to feel loved, that they have every right to be protected in their school environment and everywhere else, we have unfortunately had many conversations with youth who end up asking us questions like, but what do we say to our parents? What do we say to our aunties and uncles? What do we say to the elders in our family when we're at home and we hear them saying hateful things about other people? We hear them saying something negative about somebody of a different skin color or somebody who's not Muslim or somebody who is, for example, of a different culture, whether that person happens to be African American or black in skin color, whether they're Latino, whether it's some other nationality or ethnicity, which through cultural divides have made some people sensitive or even hateful towards their brothers and sisters. And that is something we need to contend with because, you know, Islam is this beautiful, beautiful faith. And certainly we know what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us. He told us unequivocally that racism has no place in Islam. He made it so abundantly clear to us, my brothers and sisters. And I know I'm not an imam and a scholar. I always remind people of this because I don't want to dispense religious advice when I'm not qualified to do so. But we know the famous sermon, and we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to be an example for us. And that when the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that no white person has superiority over a black person, and no black person has superiority over a white person, and no Arab has superiority over a non-Arab, and no non-Arab has superiority over an Arab, the message was clear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to us. We are his legacy. So for us to bring that kind of hatred, even that bias that sometimes we don't even recognize within ourselves, into our homes, please know your children are listening. They're taking their cues from you. They are learning this prejudice. They are learning this bigotry that we then often see on a higher level through adults. Remember, if these young folks are listening to this now and we want our young people to become leaders, then how come then inshallah, perhaps when they are leaders, do we really want them to be racist leaders? Do we want them to divide the community and cause animosity? Or do we want to be one hand of Muslim Ummah? Do we want to be united in this beautiful faith? Do we want to say La ilaha illallah and understand that that's what binds us to our Muslim brother and our Muslim sister, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their heritage, regardless of what political problems exist? Remember, my brothers and my sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us. He said, hold on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he reminded us, and be together, stay together. We must protect one another. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knows that we've got many people who target our community. And I have spoken about many issues in which Muslims are targeted. Do we also need that kind of hatred from within? Of course not. We defy what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood for when we allow racism and bigotry to take hold of our heart. We understand that little by little our hearts become corroded. We understand that blackness seeps into our heart if we're not careful about keeping it clean. Racism is one of those very dark diseases. And I hope, inshallah, in this beautiful month of love and forgiveness, that we are able to reflect upon ourselves, to better ourselves, and to rise above any hatred that we've been taught, and to make sure our children are not taught, inshallah, racism, and that we love one another in the way that Rasulullah wanted us to. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be brothers and sisters in the full way we are supposed to be. May He provide love for you and me in Allah's eyes and towards one another. And jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.